Hey guys, welcome back to Just Checks Out, and today we're going to talk about my February wrap up. I recorded this thing so many times that we're going to see what happens, okay? But between not finished ones, whining dogs, sick kid, it's been a minute. Okay, so now we've had the highs and the lows and hellos out of the way. Let us get started, shall we? First, oh my god, this was an amazing month for me because I finally got to read again. I read 4 ebooks and 2 physical books, and that is the first time I have read anything in physical form since January of 2022 when I was pregnant and I got COVID for the first time. It's been 3 years of my brain being utterly scrambled, and I don't know what it was, but now I can read again. I'm enjoying it so much. And got to use this opportunity to read some of the books I'd wanted to read that were short. I also got to read some of the arcs and making my vlog. So I really had a nice mix up of it. So I'm thrilled. And the 2 physical books are actually still on my shelf. I did not unhaul them, which is kind of amazing. All things considered, considering some of them had been on there for a while, and one of them I bought on a whim. Which, by the way, I said this in the Nutcracker vlog, but that was actually thanks to Dottie, so that was really important and really helpful for me. So I uploaded a video on the 3 arcs I had: the Rhino Keeper, Fairy Door, and the Sea Gives Up the Dead. But I'm not going to go too deep in this book because obviously I already talked about this. So, first of the lows. Now, you'll see there are 6 books listed. I'm not going to talk about all of them. There was Last Bookstore on Earth, A Court of Sugar and Spice, Our Wives Under the Sea, Mortal, the Summer We Forgot, as well as 4 Ruined Realms. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too deep on some of these, but basically, Mortal was just a lead up without any really good catching information to stick with the storyline. It basically featured, like kids and magic school, and she didn't know she's magical. It's one of those type series. It's a romantasy because that was my idea. I was reading during the month. I was actually reading more romantic fantasy. Also, pardon any sniffles. I don't know if I am sick or if I have allergies because spring has basically sprung here in Germany, and that means everything under the sun is blooming, and my daughter wants to go to the playground all the time. So you can guess where mommy's body lies. Okay, and then you have Our Wives Under the Sea. Okay, this is one where I'm just saying, look, I have nothing. It was a book that I had anticipated reading because I had seen it around Bookstagram so much, and I was like, oh, it sounds like it's really cool. It's under the sea. It goes from 2 weeks to like 6 months under the sea. Blah 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 blah. Which I mean, it makes sense because think about the space going on at the moment. The astronauts just came home. And I was like, okay, cool, cool. But nothing was there. Nothing. I've decided the sea and we're not friends. And I am not going to be reading any more books about the sea between this and The Sea Gives Up the Dead and The Seas from January. We're good. The sea can stay the sea and I will stay me. And then we have The Summer That We Forgot, which I call Red Pin Time in my awards. And that is simply because it was awful. There was a lack of consistency. The YA characters were wildly immature, and I don't mean immature as in like for their age. I mean immature as in like not developed as characters. There wasn't a lot of connection, and it was like they forgot everything that was going on, and then they had to re-find it, which is kind of cool. It's a good mystery. It was my highland. It was my high. And then we have 4 Ruined Realms, which I'm so disappointed that's a low for me, but it's a low because I was anticipating it so highly. Because I loved 5 Broken Blades last year. I loved it. Maybe it was this year. Anyway, I loved 5 Broken Blades. I thought it was a great tale. I liked the layers. I liked how everything was going together. And for 4 Ruined Realms, I just felt like it had that mid-book slump, and it only was a 3.5 star, which means it's not a 1 star like a lot of. This one is just purely a 3.5, and I'm sad about it because I feel like it could have been a 4 or a 4.5 if some things had been edited and rearranged and possibly taken out, because this book has got so many relationships, so many romance relationships, that it kind of gets bogged down with it when it comes to the overall plot of it. And I say that as someone who enjoys reading someone like Jennifer Estep's Shard series, the Gargoyle series, which also have a lot of the same elements to this one without being exactly the same. But it's just missing something, and I'm sad about that. But I'm going to read the next book because I'm deeply invested in these characters at this point. And of course, I'm not going to talk about A Court of Sugar and Spice because I literally have a whole vlog on that where I just kind of went off on multiple rants on Earth because it's basically climate with sapphic romance that makes no sense set in a matter of months, but ain't no one got the sense that whoever gave them. Okay? All right. So now let's talk about the mids. I liked the Baby Dragon Cafe. I did not love it, but it was good, right? So for this one, I usually don't have the mids, but I want to discuss these two specifically. So this one is the Baby Dragon Cafe, and it is set in a little town that has got a bunch of dragon babies, and so she sets up a cafe literally that you can take the dragon babies to. And it's like a little coffee shop, and it's really cute. Think about it like a cat cafe, but with dragons that you can't adopt. But this is the basic idea, right? And there's other towns around it that like got like griffins and all these other kind of magical beasts. I got this because it was very cheap on Talia, which is where I get my books. It's talia.de. It's kind of like our version of Barnes and Noble, and they have really good deals on new releases. Like this ebook was newly released this year, and it was already like 99 cents. So I was like, cool, let me buy that one. I don't mind spending $1 on a book trying it out. And so I think I'm going to read more in the series. This one just kind of, I didn't really like the romance so much. I felt like there could have been more to it, more of a wind up and simmeringness to it, you know. But overall, it wasn't bad. It was a fun read. It was a good read. And then Time of My Life was one that I found, and it was kind of funny because it was one of those freebies I got off of Chirp, and this one was an audiobook. I really enjoyed some of the framework. I like the Groundhog's Day esque day after day after day of being fired and starting over and having to do it again and again. And the way, you know, each day was different and the people that she included in that day. And, you know, there's just one little magical element that makes me laugh. The only thing that it really kind of became a mid for me was in the romance department, is it really romance? Is it really consentable if you know what's going to happen every day, but the person you're talking to doesn't? It's just a restart. And it's the same thing. I had the same problem with Groundhog's Day, the movie. So this is not new to me. I had that problem as a child. So, but I really enjoyed it. And then for the highs, we had the Kingdom of Sweets, which I talked about in the Nutcracker vlog. But what I really enjoyed about this one was the time frame, the settings. It wasn't necessarily in the usual England, France, whatever. It's like either Prussia, Russia, somewhere in that eastern upper part of Europe. I found it very different, and I like the dark elements because it goes really dark when you least expect it and really light, and it was just a really interesting connection of what is and what was. And then you have all the fighting parts, which I found amazing. And in that one, you have a young girl who is in a community that she doesn't necessarily want to be in, but she's kind of forced there by her father, and she accepts the role. And in the meantime, she's SA'd. And the story is, if you've ever read Let It Shine by Alyssa Cole, it has had a lot of those same feelings mixed in with The Mothers by Britt Bennett. And in that, what I mean is the community is very important to her father because of, you know, he's an immigrant. His wife found a space for them. He's there. His wife is no longer with them. She's dead. And so this is how he keeps up with making sure his daughter is doing the right things. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. It's a hard read. Please don't think that it's not, but I honestly think it's worth reading if you can read it. It's got a lot of really valuable insight into it. And then you have The Mad Women's Ball, which is about obviously mad women, and it's set in the Paris 1880s. How the women got there, what they see. You have like a nurse matriarch, and you've got, you know, a newbie, and you've got all these kind of elements to it. And there's a little bit of a fantastical element, but It's a hard read too, but it's a really good one. And this is a physical book that I've had for a while, and I'm so glad I read it. Now, you have the games, but the boards that I play and the February reads. As you can see, I have for the Friendship Bingo card, all the fighting parts for a BIPOC author, The Summer That We Forgot, which is a pink, white, or red cover, a book you had to have a sweet treat while eating, reading was Our Wives Under the Sea. God knows I only needed it then. And then Four Ruined Realms was a sequel. And then finally you have the 52 books in 52 weeks challenge. And in that one, I discuss the books that I've read. So I read Climate Fiction, which was the last bookshop on Earth. I read a standalone novel, which was All the Fighting Parts. Explore Social Class, which was the Mad Women's Ball, because it really does a good job of exploring that. And an author releases more than one book per year, which is Four Ruined Realms, because she has another book coming out in January. And I don't know if it's a trilogy or not, but I know it's definitely in the same world. So those were my reads and my challenges, and I succeeded in all of them. I also, like I said, I read romance for the month. It was kind of like fantasy romance. I wanted to dive into it, which is how I got For a Court and Sugar and Spice. Man, not so sure about that one, but I did read it. And honestly, that's it, guys. I'm done. It's a very quick month. I'm so happy that I got to read books again. I'm reading them into March. And I'm glad that I've gotten the opportunity to try new things, read new books, start the vlog, or do a vlog. I don't know how much I'm going to be doing vlogs because they're very labor intensive and the viewership outcome is not necessarily high enough to make it a priority, but I'm glad I did it. If there's anything that you guys want to tell me about, please leave a comment. If you would like to leave your highs and lows, whatever made you squeal or made you scream, let me know. And if you don't want to do that, then put your favorite magical critter in there. Was it like a genie? Is it a squirrel? Is it, I don't know, a unicorn? I don't know. You tell me. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.